things are a blast. They're street legal. You can ride them down the street, on the trail, take it to the beach, take it to the store, ride it to work. You can ride it at nighttime, daytime, 24/7. 550 miles on it. She's barely broken in. Nice quiet little exhaust on it. Honda quality. Original gas cap is chrome, metal tank. They don't make them like this anymore. Everything's all plasticky on the new bikes. Original factory gauge and speedometer and switch housings, levers, everything's intact, even the original grips. Very cool piece. Hard to find an unrestored original like this that's been just, all we did was what we call a preservation service. Just did a tune-up on it, polished it, cleaned it up. Very nice piece. Beat the happiest people on a Honda, for good reason. What's up, guys? Feast your eyes on this candy emerald green dime piece. This is a 1970 Honda SL100. It's now 51 years old. It's an antique, but it's all original except for a couple of small components. In fact, this bike scored 98.5 points at an A.M.C.A. rally in 2014. This is from the Philip Kearns collection out of Pennsylvania, and this bike was featured in a motorcycle book called The Modern Classics, which I have right here. It was on page 96 of the book here, and it shows courtesy of Phyllis Suriano, that's Philip Kearns' wife, and it shows the bike exactly as it sits here. By 1969, it was impossible to ignore the success of a new generation of enduro bikes like Yamaha's astoundingly popular DT1. The folks at Honda decided to, like other manufacturers, come out with a line of enduros. The SL morphed into a series of SLs of various sizes, including this SL100. With a 100cc overhead cam, bulletproof 4-stroke engine, a 5-speed transmission, and a 62-mile-per-hour top speed, the SL100 served Honda well from 1970 through 1973. The SL100 most natural environment was in the pavement with only occasional forays off-road. That's how it was with this particular 1970 candy emerald green model, which logged many of its 527 original miles on the sunny streets around Key West, Florida. So in 2014, it had 527 miles when it was at the show. Well, Philip drove it an astounding 23 miles in the last 9 years. Philip's getting up there in years himself and decided to liquidate his collection of classics to us. We bought the Gary Nixon, Gene Romero factory Triumph 750 flat tracker, this SL100. We bought a Honda A.M.C.A with I think it had 1,500 miles on it. That one sold immediately the first day Junior put it up. I think he put it up for way too cheap of a price, but that's another story. That one sold immediately. We just got this one out of the service department, and we've done some work to it. Let me finish the book here. It says, perhaps, this is the article written in the book here about this bike, perhaps the most original of the remaining SL100s with only 527 miles. This particular bike has scored 98.5 points out of 100 in A.M.C.A, that's the Antique Motorcycle Club of America senior competition. That's the most competitive group, being downgraded only for its dealer-installed rear sprocket. Philip had told me that the bike came from the dealer with that larger rear sprocket, which would gear it down for a lower top speed but better acceleration. Look at the size of the sprocket on that thing. So, and I think they might have taken off a half a point for the rear tire, I'm not sure. Since 2014, the bike has been stored in his high and dry in his garage and has not degraded in condition at all. And he would run it every year, a mile or two, up and down the streets to keep the motor fresh. The rear fender, when we got it from Philip, the back piece right here, from the back bottom a couple inches, the paint had faded and chipped and peeled off. So it was bare metal right here. It wasn't rusted, but it was bare metal. So Kyle ordered from Color-Right the matching factory paint, and they painted it, but you can see it's off a shade because that's 50 years of fading. 51 years of fading gives it that patina. This is the original factory color. So I wanted to note that rear fender has been repainted by our detail shop. In fact, a couple weeks ago, the bike went through the detail shop, got a full, what we call a rotisserie detail, which means it was steam cleaned, hand washed. The tank was clay barred and buffed and coated with Carnauba Brazilian wax, so it's got a nice shine on the original paint. The original seat was vinyl treated. The exhaust system was repainted. The rear fender was repainted. Generally polished, all aluminum and chrome on the bike. And let me grab the work order so I don't speak out of school on this. They put 11 hours labor into it plus parts, so the work order came out to $1,231. In addition to the hot water steam cleaning, degreasing, they touched up the frame paint, the engine side covers were painted, the rear fender was painted, they polished the tank and tins, as I mentioned, the handlebars were chrome was polished, the wheels and other chrome accessories were all polished and with chrome polish. The rear chain guide, the chain, everything was cleaned perfectly, including the sprocket. So I was in a detail shop for 6 hours to do all that work. And then at the service shop, they put a brand new US&A battery in it, a brand new K&N air filter, a new Honda 6-volt ignition coil, a full SL tune-up kit, which included the points and everything else, and the spark plug. They cleaned the carb, took the carb out, rebuilt it, cleaned it, reinstalled it, put new fuel lines on it. It's got non-ethanol VP 110 fuel in it, so the carb won't gump up like it does with the ethanol fuel. Installed the new coil and points, retimed the engine, reset the valve clearance, installed the new battery. They did a compression test on the engine, or not a compression test, a leak down test on the engine to check the valve condition, and they said the intake valve has some carbon on it, so the intake valve leaks a little bit, which results in a little bit erratic running, but with 500 miles on it, what they said was the carburetor probably leaked fuel into the intake valve, and it's just got a little deposits in there that'll probably clean up with riding. Worst case scenario, you can just take the head off and clean the valve. So, but the engine cases, transmission, clutch, everything with 550 miles this is the lowest mileage example I've ever seen here at the museum. Most of these were ridden into the ground because they were so fun and so reliable. You know, the headlight and taillight, you can ride it, you know, night and day, year round. Fortunately, for this bike in New England, we have a lot of snow, like we have outside now. We've got 2 foot of snow out there, so they don't get ridden much. And when they sit for 6 months, the carbs get gummed up. So, unless you have ethanol-free fuel like it has now. So, looking at the front wheel, everything's nice and straight. The forks are nice and straight, as is the front fender with original paint. The headlight bucket is in mint condition. I'm sure the pictures speak for itself. The bike is an object of lust and desire, exactly the way it sits. It's a beautiful, classic. Production date, it was born in March of 1970, making this, well, it's going to be March next week, 51 years old. So fresh oil in the crankcase, fresh gas in the gas tank, a brand new battery, brand new air filter, new spark plug. She's ready to ride. If you have any questions about this beauty, give us a call. Whoever gets this is getting an awesome classic from the Philip Kearns collection that there's just not many out there original that are this mint. Thanks for watching, and God bless America.